Today's pedagogy topic reminds me of when I was a kid. I went to a friend's birthday party, and the mother of this little girl was trying to blow up balloons for the party. Was having a heck of a time. She kept trying a little bit and then couldn't get it going, so she'd hand somebody else, so everyone else was blowing up the balloons except her. And I always thought that was weird that this is a full grown person who couldn't blow up a balloon. And then later I found out that about 1.3% of the population has this problem. And when you play a wind instrument, particularly brass, it can become a crucial problem. So it's called a defective velopharyngeal valve. And in the back of your mouth, just below what you can see when you look in a mirror, there's a little C-shaped valve that opens and closes that allows you to blow air through the mouth or through the nose or both. And so it opens and closes. And this velopharyngeal valve sometimes leaks. And when we build up enough air compression to play a wind instrument, sometimes that leakage causes the air compression to diminish, and it kills your sound and especially your upper range. Woodwinds have this problem, but not near as often as brass players. Woodwinds generally take about half of the interoral pressure that we require on brass instruments. On brass, it's about 125 to 140 milligrams of mercury of pressure, whereas on woodwinds it's generally 55 to 90 milligrams. So this problem was kind of first discovered for wind players by Dr. David DeBell. And DeBell is retired now, but he was head of the plastic and reconstructive surgery department at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And when I hosted the 1977 International Trumpet Guild conference at University of Illinois, I got a call from this Dr. DeBell, and he was asking if there would be time for him to give a 30-minute presentation during the trumpet conference about this problem. Well, I'd never really heard of the problem, and so he explained it to me. It sounded very interesting. Well, I had him do the clinic, and a lot of people thought it was very interesting, and he subsequently wrote a lot of articles for medical journals and even wrote one for the ITG journal. And I found that through my almost 50 years of college teaching that I had several students that had this problem and had to have it surgically fixed. It's actually a very simple procedure. Now, if it's air leakage through the nose while you're playing, particularly when you play above the staff, that just happens now and then. And it tends to happen more with people that are not regular players. They don't play full-time, they're not professionals. So people that just play half hour one day, an hour the next day, it's off and on, maybe a few hours a week, they sometimes have this problem. And it can be usually fixed by more practice, because the front of the mouth you have, on the roof of the mouth is the hard palate, and in the back you have the soft palate, which is very flexible. And that flexibility allows that valve to open and close. So what we found is that if you practice a lot of K-tonguing, either all K-tonguing or double, triple tonguing, where you're using the K syllable, it will strengthen the back of the mouth and usually makes the problem go away. But if it's a persistent problem that happens, chronically for months, then you may want to get it checked out. Although DeBell is now retired, he has trained many plastic reconstructive surgeons or ear, nose, and throat specialists who would know how to fix this. And basically, I've had 3 of my students go to him. One was a trombone student and 2 were trumpets that had this problem. And it's very simple. He had a little fiber optic sensor that looked like a thread going in your mouth, on the side of your mouth, and you would play your instrument, and the fiber optic fibers went up into the sinuses and around the different parts of the mouth. So when you played, he could measure all the different points of air pressure. And when he saw a shift to the sinus cavity in pressure, then he knew, okay, the valve is opening and allowing that to happen. So what they would do is they put the patient out only because they're working in the back of the mouth and they don't want them gagging, but it's an in-office procedure. So the patient is put out and they take a little sliver of skin from the roof of the mouth and they graft it onto this little horseshoe-shaped valve. And it's stitched on there with dissolvable stitches. And within, 2 weeks for sure, you can start playing again, and the stitches dissolve, and you're good to go. And all the people I know of, which are not just my students, but many others that DeBell told me about, he had a 100% success rate with this, and sometimes the range went up an octave right away, because we thought what was normally thought by a lot of teachers as being chop problems ended up just being this air leakage. So I encourage you to take a look at Dr. DeBell. That's D-I-B-B-E-L-L, David DeBell. If you Google him, you'll find a lot of his articles, and check it out. It's worthwhile, and it is a problem that trumpet teachers have to deal with. Thank you very much.